KSL Summer Slam begins right now as we begin in the bottom right-hand corner with the red Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. It is RagnaroK. He takes on the blue Terran in the top left corner of the map. From onside, we have got Maru. Game number 1 of a best of 5 series is going to be best of 5 all day. Today, we are going to have 4 best of 5s for you guys. Our goal is to follow the section of the bracket that goes like this. First of all, it's going to be RagnaroK versus Maru, then Beyond versus Scarlet, then Classic versus the winner of Maru and RagnaroK, and then Solo versus the winner of Beyond and Scarlet, unless I've forgotten some part of the bracket, which is possible. It is plausible. That could absolutely be the case, so we'll see, though. We'll see. There's a couple of Brabbocks come down the front. Maru already looking to open with a little bit of action in terms of going into some Reapers, so he's going to be doing that, which we know is pretty much the norm. It's really nothing too out of the ordinary or to anything we really kind of shout or scream about. Very much so the norm to get going with, and that's exactly what we will be doing here. So getting things underway, getting everything set up just for a few moments here in game number 1. Adjgasm pulling away from RagnaroK, of course. He does not yet know what's going on. This Overlord has not ventured forward to see the 2 racks on the low ground. He will instead be looking to play this based off of what he sees in the near future. Instead, just going to start figuring that out and, yeah, seeing where we can go with it. Let's get ourselves the showing up already on the other side, so it's already going to start poking about, coming into this mineral line and aiming for a couple of drones. We built an Evo chamber to block it and force it the other way around initially. I feel like that doesn't really do much at this stage. By the way, this is 0 Zerglings out of RagnaroK, so he's defending with no Lings. That means he's building purely drones. Considering most players play 4 Lings, sometimes 6, this means you're saving between, you're getting yourself 2 to 3 extra drones than you would usually have. This is amazing if you don't take damage, because then you're 2 to 3 drones ahead. And usually all these Lings do is kind of push back the Reapers. In this case, well, so far so good, but now 3 Reapers is going to be the real test as the Queens are in position, ready for this jump up. What if we go back to the natural? The Queens have to go through a little bit of no creep. They're going to be there in time, though, as well. So far so good. Honestly, looks like a pretty reasonable defense up until now. As our Reaper's going to poke around on those Queens, they will not find a way in. And yeah, the 0 Ling opening from RagnaroK is going to work out defensively. And now he goes straight to a lair. Oh my goodness, this is all sorts of crazy. So, no Lings, no Ling speed. No Lings, no Ling speed, straight to lair. Obviously, some kind of potential heavy pressure attack could be on the way. Might even rush Aspire and Mutas. 3 more gases coming up. There's the kind of thing that RagnaroK's been loving lately. Super fast Mutalisks, usually 2.5 base, but this is actually a true 2 base Muta build if you go Spire. And when I say true 2 base, it's because a lot of 2 base builds nowadays just take the 3rd hatchery and then the Spire goes down because you just take a 3rd hatch so quick anyway. But this really would be like, hey, I'm sitting on 2 bases for a while, especially with these Reapers out the front, and the fact that you've only just started Ling speed now, it's going to take you a while to get to your 3rd. I really kind of feel like, okay, he's actually going to sneak it down, so he is going to get there. But this is still such a fast lair. Spire should go down. I don't see what else this could really be. And there it is, Spire going down. Reapers are just about to jump up into the main, but the Queens are here. The Reapers are going to go in anyway. I think Maru says, hey, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you playing like this? Why haven't I seen any units? Well, he's going to see the lair, and as the Reapers sit here, they're going to get some grenades down to finish off. Oh, nice transfusion. Actually saved a drone, I believe. Still going to get 3 workers, the Reapers. 2 of them go down. So he sees the lair, he sees the gases, but he didn't see the Spire, which is over in the natural expansion. So he gains some information, but not all of the information. As our Reaper comes back over to the right, just going to be seeing it, just double check. There is a 3rd hatch coming down at all. And we just get that on the way and started as we just have ourselves the Reaper. And now these Lings are going to run forward, of course. Now they have Ling speed. Going to go hunt this Reaper down. Maru, about to have engineering base, definitely wants to go into a missile turret or 2 in a couple of mineral lines again. That's going to be the strength of RagnaroK's build, having these mutas so quickly showing up before there's really a lot out for Maru. But what I will say is going to go well for Maru is obviously this is a no Hellion base build because it's the 2 racks opener. So he is going to have quite a high Marine count. And I do question how good really is a 2-base Muta build in this current meta of opening Reapers, 3 Reapers into like a lot of Marines, no Hellion production. Because usually what's so good about Mutas is they show up and we're only just starting to produce Marines, so there's not a lot of anti-air. You really are limited in how much you can fight. Whereas now you see those Mutas all coming up, +1 flyer attack coming in. As we get that underway, and just going to be having the feelings of Mutas begin to move out onto the map. So they're going to start moving across. There's already been those Marines moving around a little bit. I do feel as though Marines are likely going to be able to help out in a big way in a few moments. Just going to chase those Mutas back for a minute. Here come the Lings. Marines are going to tuck themselves in the corner. Is that enough to actually fight against this Ling Muta force? The Muta's not really doing too much, backing away a lot now. Widowmines are going to burrow up. If they go off on Lings, that wouldn't be ideal. Yeah, there's actually a perfect fight for Maru. Just sits in the corner, trades out with the Lings. The Mutas didn't really do too much. I would say that this was a pretty reasonable way of things going. As our medevac pulls back up towards the left, and a missile turret there, going to push a couple Mutas around as well. So just building some things here and there, and just a little bit of everywhere at the moment. That's how we begin. Now Ling Muta comes forward again, but is going to be met by, well, again, a group of Marines are very happy to stand here and say, hello, how are you doing? Let's dance if you want to dance. Picks away at a few of those Mutas again. Maru's about to have 1-1 upgrades, and I cannot say that these Mutas have done enough to justify their investment yet, which is obviously terrifying because that means that Maru is on the verge of potentially pushing across the map. And what is RagnaroK going to have to show for it in terms of defense? Well, he's going to have himself Baneling speed just about finishing up soon. So he will have Banelings at least. He needs to kind of find like a swarming fight, and he needs to try and keep these units busy for Maru back at home with the Mutas. He needs to distract and buy time for as long as possible. I will say Maru's macro has not been absolutely perfect though. He has had actually a few different supply blocks along the way to getting here, so a couple of times just getting slowed down by his own volition. Volition? Is that even a word? You know what, sometimes... Volition. Yeah, there you go, by his own volition. I English, guys, yeah? I'm from England, yeah? Once in school, they taught me how to read books. I know. Aren't you guys, You know, there's one of those words that I've heard used so many times, and I'm like, my brain's like, I'm gonna use this word I've heard and never said myself in my life. So, you know, that... That's how my caster life is. It's like making up words I can use, but then they actually are words, but I've never used them before, so then I question if they're words. Beautiful. Mutas, Marines, going to fight against each other. 2-2 upgrades well underway for Maru. Again, he will maintain an upgrade lead throughout this. As the Mutas come around the left-hand side, the melee upgrade is still coming up. The Mutas are going to think about diving onto Widowmines there, but they will not quite make it. I'm just going to be seeing our, well, drones continue to produce as well. Maru has been kept at home. So that's 100%, big win initially here from RagnaroK. That's one of the things he had to do. I am terrified for RagnaroK because Maru's gone into 8 racks. He's just going to 8 racks, 3 base parade push. And this is now going to be 2-2 versus 1-1, so he's always going to have an upgrade lead. It's versus Mutas, which are maybe good at picking off reinforcement lines, but they're not so, as good in the straight-up fights. But Maru actually adding on a couple of Hellbats instead of further Widowmines. That is interesting. Maybe just wants something to soak up a few of the Banelings a little bit, try and absorb some of those shots. He's got Marauders on the way too. Yeah, Hellbats instead of additional mines is very intriguing. We actually are going to keep making them as well. No, he cancels one, then he builds another mine. Seems like he's not even quite sure. I wonder what the benefit is of adding in a few Hellbats right now. Usually you might have a few Hellbats with this attack anyway, had you opened like Hellions, if you were playing the builds that were more common 2 to 3 months ago, but obviously at this stage, this is actually going to be... no Hellions familiar in the game. He only ever built 2 Hellbats then, right? So 2 Hellbats. Very intriguing. Where are they? Like, what does he actually use them for as well? No, they are just in the army. Widowmine going to get a lot of these Banes that are going to counterattack immediately. And Maru's going to have to deal with this. Obviously, this does mean RagnaroK is not going to have a lot of defense. I think Maru might just not care what happens over here. Because he says, okay, if you literally just threw your entire army at my front door, I'm literally just going to stim into your base and kill you. Because what the heck are you going to have? Like, how are you ever going to defend against this? And it's a very good question, RagnaroK. What was the plan? It's all well and good knocking down a couple of things and getting rid of a mineral line. And then what? How are you ever going to kill this army? Like, it's okay to counterattack if if you know you can hold this army off, if you know you have a chance of defending, but I don't think that was ever true. With so many banelings being used across the map, I don't think that was ever really an opportunity, and you can see Maru here again. The upgrade lead and all the rest is going to be enough. He didn't get as aggressive as I thought he might as quickly, but he definitely still played the idea of, hey, you open meters, they didn't do a lot, and because you did that, I can have a very good push for myself and take down a game number 1 just like that. Out of the year so far. And this started up back in February, March, whenever we got that announcement about cut price pool and GSL. KSL has continued to maintain a lot of support on that Patreon. Check it out. It is patreon.com/Korean StarCraft League, I believe. So do go give it a look, go check it out, and go support some people. Supporting some tournaments. There's a fun game, very unconventional. Yeah, no, it was, it does happen a lot, right, where you get these kind of matches of RagnaroK who really tries to play so many more mutas and just plays such a different style in general. Like, RagnaroK really doesn't just play the straight up norm. He really does mix it up. He does things very differently. Very interesting. There's a couple barracks coming through on the front of the natural, and we'll see just where this game takes us once again. At the very least, we're heading towards Reapers on the side of Maru, but it is a big question mark as to what RagnaroK will do. He's got a lot of options in terms of maybe mixing this up and doing something different himself, so we'll see, like I say, what his choice becomes a bit further down the line as we get everything going today. Ovi, just going to continue through for a moment. Heading across the map and just going to go check to see what exactly is going on in the early few minutes. You have our first Reapers, of course, popping out, and you will see the barracks at the front, so RagnaroK's going to be fairly aware of just what exactly is happening there. As our first Reaper does come across, double hatch now from RagnaroK. He gets the third hatchery down nice and quickly because he's playing a completely different style to what we saw him playing earlier, so that obviously makes a lot of sense. Maybe gets a few pings off and is now going to turn towards this hatch and get a little bit more damage done for just a few moments. So hatchery's taking some hits, as we do have the Reapers just sitting on it there. We're going to come through. Ling going to get picked off again. Baneling nest on the way up. Again, Lings and the Ling speed all continuing to produce through just for the moment here. As we do have ourselves the, again, very fast Baneling nest from RagnaroK. He's just going to make Lings, and he's going to go for the Ling Bane burst against these Reapers. Sometimes this feels like he can do extremely well. It does feel very hit or miss. I generally like it. I generally think it's actually pretty cool, but I guess let's see what goes down as these Reapers do have a bunker up. So they are going to be able to utilize that, and maybe that is in part why we see RagnaroK's investment here, just to try and deal with this, especially if he kills the Reapers now, because they've been a little bit overcommitted. This could be really bad. Oh my god, the toe still open, the taste still open. Disgusting. They were casting out of the natural. Unbelievable. I've never seen those two together on the map, actually. That's kind of funny. As these, this Reaper has absolutely no right doing what it's doing right now. And that's kind of disgusting, but of course it's not necessarily going to help you when the Banelings are across the map, and the units on the map right now are this one Reaper and then 3 producing Marines. But we're going to have those in trouble in a moment. Do we have enough Lings? Yeah, we need Lings to flood through beyond these Banelings, of course, so that is going to be very important as well to have, and obviously right now it does look as though we have it. People goes down, Maru's going to run. There's no high ground wall off, and he's not going to get engineering base down. I think he's dead, as RagnaroK will swiftly dispatch Maru in game number 2 and is going to be able to take 1-1 and all tied up, as we are going to have ourselves in the top left-hand corner the red Zerg player from Mystery Gaming. This is RagnaroK. Takes on the blue Terran player in the bottom right from onside. This is Maru. Three of our series. Fun stuff so far, as once again, Maru is going to drop barracks on the low ground natural location. He is going to set up over here immediately, and he is going to believe that continuing to be aggressive is his best course of action for the moment, so we'll continue through with that. Obviously, RagnaroK going to go hatch pool, no gas. That's going to be a little bit different from him, so a little bit of a different approach here from our Zerg. Hatch pool, no gas, and just going to be seeing meanwhile Maru getting a couple of barracks still on the way up. They're going to be popping here in just a few moments, so getting those barracks out. And again, we'll see those Reapers heading across the map in the very near future. There's Reaper number 1 already starting up. Second barracks, like I say, is just about to finish. That'll be Reaper number 2 off and away very shortly as well. That is the gas from RagnaroK. So there's going to be that later gas, which means that he is not going to have link speed anywhere near as quickly as he might usually. So this might just be a completely different direction to take. RagnaroK is coming into this series with a very different approach on things. This is not him playing super standard ZVT opener after super standard ZVT opener. You know, he is absolutely mixing it up. He's trying to do something different on repeat. See if he can stick to it, as we do have a couple queens on the way out from RagnaroK. We do have a few lings and drones on the way through as well. I'm just going to be seeing this Reaper showing up. It's going to start nibbling at a couple of those drones, and you know, I'm going to pop those around just a little bit here. The lings come through, and just going to go after that Reaper as well. Reaper gets chased away over to the edges. Again, RagnaroK will play no third hatchery. There's no way for him to truly defend that with such a late ling speed. So you will have to play without that third hatch for a little bit. Maru just gonna double check like the right side as well. He's like, hey, you're not taking it over here like a Doc would do. You know, Doc's been doing that a lot lately. No, and so we jump back to the high ground, scatter around a little bit more. Grenades go down. The queens get pushed away just for the moment, and the Reapers come back around into the center of the map. As you see, the reactor and the tech lab both producing on the side of Maru. So getting those barracks up and rolling. Getting all of that underway here just for a few moments. Still just bopping around. Land the Rotron coming through. The few drones coming out. Another Overlord is on its way in. And there's plenty of drones still producing here as well as our extractors continue in. Bringing all of those through. Just going to be seeing our Reapers still around the right side, trying to figure out just what they might be able to get done over these next few minutes. Going to move back around towards the third base, as we do have Stimpack Marines, Starport, etc. all still being built up. Command Center coming through here as well from Maru, so continue to bring that in as well just for the moment, as our Banshee is also going to be producing from Maru right now. Reapers hopping in, just going to be seeing a Zerglin already going down, make that double ling. And that's going to be a dead drone as well. So 2 lings, a drone, and another drone. We don't get the other drone. This drone could die, though. That's still 2 drones, which is not bad. And, of course, for Maru, he wanted to commit these Reapers in anyways because he wants to know what's going on. Like, for him, it's quite important to see what exactly is actually happening here rather than just being completely blind, because it is a bit of a baffling experience. Your opponent is clearly not super interested in, you know, in kind of playing in the normal way. He hasn't all series, and now he's not doing it in this game either. We do grab an active creep teamer there, which is really nice. There's going to be less creep to spread out on the map as quickly, so that should slow you down a little bit as RagnaroK. As his Overseer tries to get information as well, he'll get shot down by the Marines. Marines just going to chill out over on this base for a little longer as our Reaper continues to go back and forth just for a few moments. And Queen's still coming out. Again, Roach Speed and the Roaches will continue to be brought through as well. So bringing all of that in. Let's just have ourselves the Banshees now showing up as well. We just got the 1 Banshee, right? No cloak or anything, so a little bit of safety, and actually is definitely going to be nice if you have it still against the Roaches. The question is, will we still have it against the Roaches? Those Roaches are on the way out, but the Banshee's now committing into the main, where we're going to find 1, 2, 3 drones potentially. That were low HP and 1 hittable. He actually in the end went for another couple of targets, and he does find 1, 2 more. He gives the Banshee up, however, which means that this Roach attack is going to be that little bit more powerful because there will not be as much defended off with. So no Banshee to help against this. The Reaper sees this coming though, so now Maru is aware of the aggression coming his way. He's super super aware that this is going to maybe be a little bit scary for him. Let's just have ourselves the Roach Ravager arriving on the front. Well, he does have a tank, and obviously if you play back a little bit, you can defend more easily. However, he might start to lose his barracks at the front. Second barracks is building combat shields. That one might just get cancelled and denied. Maru letting the tank put in some work for the moment. He's only got the one, and he actually is going to begin on sieging it, knowing those Ravagers are getting close, knowing that they are likely going to be denying it very soon. He'd rather keep it back and keep it safe, and I like that decision. It's a very proactive and mature decision from Maru to say, right, I've already had a lot out of this tank. Let's try and preserve it, because keeping it alive might be the most important thing for me to defend this next layer of my, base. And to be fair, it has, right? Because now, RagnaroK doesn't get biles in the tank and doesn't feel like he can just shove his way into the natural or anything. So I'd say this is a success for Maru, where, okay, he's still getting bullied around, but he's only getting bullied around on the edge of his wall-off. He's not getting bullied around straight up in his natural with the kind of attack that might actually lead to killing him. Again, very cute, smart play from Maru, just little adjustments, and again, those are the difficult decisions to make, because that's thinking ahead rather than thinking in the moment. In the moment, when your tank's getting biled down, you might be like, oh, I'd really love it if I just, drop a bunch of siege tanks and, if I just move my siege tank, I still have a siege tank here, a bit of a more defendable position. But he's thinking ahead knowing that that's, a nice one. He's just going to unload and just going to go after this Overlord. A little bit of Roach Ravager just going to be sitting through. So I'll have the Infestation Pit and the Baneling Nest coming out here as well from RagnaroK. And it's just going to be seeing the Marines loading back into those medevacs, going to back away just for a couple moments, and just going to be seeing a siege tank setting up out the front. Obviously now Maru has the medevacs on the map, and he's able to actually have his opponent push back a little bit. He will start to prioritize, the ability to kind of move around and take some of these fights. Medevac's going to come around the left-hand side. Just going to be seeing the Marauder, the Marine, still producing through. Our armory is about to finish, and the Concussor Shells is also on the way up. So bringing all of this through for the moment. Looking pretty reasonable, pretty respectable right now. A couple more drones do go down. Again, still looking at missile upgrades, the carapace as well. Inland speed's about halfway done. We got a whole bunch more lings coming out. The hive is still coming through. We're going to have our Marines just going to lift back up from these medevacs and into these medevacs and just back away from that Ling Roach Ravager. That continues out down the center for the moment. Into the middle we go as we get knocked down a Zergling, and now this set of rocks is going to be a little bit troubled as well, so that's also going to see a few issues. As our Marines move up, this hatchery will take some damage, and we knock that down. And Overlord, also in trouble here, is also going to get dropped. Our Marines will pull around the left-hand side, going after a few Banelings, and the rest of these bio units getting set up. The tanks are sieged, the Lings taking a bunch of damage, the Banelings continue to drop. Just seeing Maru having a pretty good time here as we drop one more Baneling down. Still seeing the rest of that Ling Roach Ravager still going left and right, back and forth, figuring out where it wants to be. We've seen our rocks get knocked into the center. Bio units will continue through. Roach Ravager Bane. Just getting set as our Bio Force continues through, and just going to be seeing this position is obviously pretty nasty. But we do have the Vipers flanking in, looking for the Blinding Clouds to open up this attack. RagnaroK going to die from the top, and he is going to get forward. A lot of these tanks now coming out of the Blinding Clouds, though the damage will come back in, and man, there's so much bio left, especially a good amount of Marauders. And with that Marauder count being so good, those Roaches are getting shredded, and this really feels as though Maru is just going to push his way through this one for a Game 3 victory, and to go up 2-1 in the best of 5. Pulling back a little bit, going to go back on this hatchery, but this really does, like I say, feel as though we have got a decided matchup right here, right now, as Maru is going to, like I say, take the lead back in this series. Just very smart, responsible play for him early on, I think, is what it really comes down to. You know, I mentioned it a little bit, but I really do stand by it. What he did was just intelligent. It was thinking ahead. It was playing for the future and not for the right now. And that absolutely helped him out a little bit, as we're just going to be seeing this bio, of course. At this stage, does not seem as though it's going to be stopped. It's just going to keep on being aggressive pretty much throughout as we dive further and further in. And we get more and more damage done. GG is going to be called. And Maru is going to take it 2-1 over RagnaroK. Not take it, but... Ellie just barking at nothing again, guys. Sorry for that. Just double checking, nothing was going on. As you have in the top right hand side, Red Zerg player from Mystery Gaming RagnaroK. Thank you for a couple of moments' patience. He's going to open pool first. He's been very diverse in his builds throughout this series, and that's going to continue right now with spawning pool first being his current choice of opening as we head into game 4. We also have down in the bottom left our blue Terran player, Maru. Game 4 here, as you get this up and rolling. See where this is going to go. Rax, Reaper, Orbital, all being brought through for a couple of moments. First Reaper's on the way out. Maru just setting up kind of as he has done in the previous game, so going for that moment. A couple of Reapers is continuing through, and this Reaper going to move by. There's going to be a grenade there to pop the Queen just forward a little bit. Then get pushed towards the ramp, and now this Reaper going to go backing it up again. Another Reaper going to be coming through, and getting a few lings, and that ling speed all coming up. Just have ourselves a command center building back at home. Very much so the expected set of choices here so far in this game number 4. RagnaroK has one game victory coming off of that Bling Bane bust. Super aggression, and then not really looking like he's had much of a chance elsewhere. He's been very much so held back throughout the course of this series. Again, he's done so many different things, and Maru's dealt with most of them pretty well. Like I say, the Bane Bust has been definitely something of a victory. I feel like even then, a little unfortunate for Maru, that's the game he chose to get the bunker up, and he chose to try and double down on some aggression, which really probably just hurt him more than anything else. Considering the situation and considering the way everything else went in that game. The Reapers pull back down to the bottom left-hand side. Link speed still coming up. The few drones are coming out. Just having ourselves those Reapers. Going to get all the way back down to that bottom left-hand corner. Command center. Going to be finishing up in just a few moments. That's going to be our third CC that's coming fully into play here, so they'll be out in just a second. Do you have our Reapers going to go back and forth, and just again the Reapers going to move around a little bit themselves for these early stages. Gonna hop out and still staying kind of far back, right? Staying pretty safe, you know, keeping themselves pretty safe, I would say, most notably. The Reapers head out over to the left-hand side. A few Marines move forward. The Reapers just going to grab themselves a Zergling to begin with. Just going to knock that down. And the Reapers continue to chill out over on the far left just for the moment. Very defensive then from Maru, who, information-wise, is not really seen much of anything. Saw 3 bases, and that's kind of been his game plan for the moment. So, yeah, just minimal scouting. Roach Roaring now done from RagnaroK and moving into the lair. And again, with the way that RagnaroK's been playing, to me, it's just a question of what the heck is he going to try next? Like, what is the next step here for RagnaroK? Because, yeah, I'm not quite believing that he's just going to be playing as defensive as he makes out. And Hellions will nab a few of the Crypt Tumors, though. That's always really nice. You're slowing down so much of the front there when you're able to do that. It really is a massive aid. As Marines load into Medivacs, they're going to go boosting through the bottom side of the map. 1-1 upgrades will be starting on the engineering base, and again, the rest of this army from Maru still just pressing up into the center. Going to go forward and pick off a couple of these Crypt Tumors. Vex around the right will be able to unload in the main base in the next few moments. Maybe make an attempt at a couple of different Crypt Tumors there as well. As we unload, we're just going to be seeing this little push forward. We do have a Queen that's already on the run that's kind of low HP. Whoa, he lifted up. I think that's a mistake from Maru. He had no reason to really lift up there. If he stayed unloaded, he would have fought a couple of Roaches and then at least kited back against the Zerglings for a little bit more value before he was done. That's a little bit of a shame, as our Reaper Hellion is going to trade with the Queens. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily go super well as you stick around, but Maru is just kind of poking everywhere. And this hatchery, 4th base, going to be killed off. Maru is just so freaking good to watch, right? Like, we know how good RagnaroK is. You see RagnaroK play against all these other Terrans, and he's a pain in the butt to play against. He's really difficult to figure out. He's doing all these different builds, and, you know, he's pretty darn good. And then he plays against Maru, and Maru just starts dismantling him in the early stages of the game. He's like, oh, I'm going to just drop you a little bit and your 4th base dies. And that's just purely through very strong and very solid army movement. Very good choices as to where he should be moving things. It's kind of ridiculous. Now going to dive on these Roaches as well. And he's just going to pick off 3 Roaches. Going to go for 4 or 5. He really is just going to find himself so much value. And Maru is absolutely dominating this best of 5 so far, I have to say. Obviously, this game is not done yet. It's not decided, but I'm pretty happy to say it's like a dominating series right now for Maru. He is playing this so freaking well. Yeah, I don't know. You know, call me a little bit of a Maru fanboy if you must. I really do not mind because I genuinely think he's just playing a super solid series at the moment. He's coming forward, the Roaches are going to be there. We're just going to lift off these units again in the Medivacs. And with more Roach Ravager on the way, no more drones, it does seem like RagnaroK is essentially just going for 3 base saturation, Roach Ravager timing with 1-1. This has already been delayed because of these drops. He might have even been forced into it more so than he wanted to originally because of the cancel on the 4th base. He doesn't have that 4th base mining as soon. I think this may have been his plan anyways. Let's see what Maru's defense is like. He's got a bit of SimCity up. His tanks are spread out and behind that SimCity a little bit as well, so he's already going to start hitting the Roaches very nicely before the Ravagers can get in reach. Only 2 Biles connect on that tank as well, so that's going to be surviving a little bit longer. Medivacs need to be careful as we do lose a Medivac with that siege tank, and that's why I say be careful, just because they're hanging around above the tanks. They're going to make themselves very easy targets. Maru is losing a good amount of his tanks here. That 4th base is going to do him absolutely no favors, and does RagnaroK have some hope and some, well, chance maybe still? As this Roach Ravager force is still pressing forward. This tank repositioning as the Ravagers come through again. This time the Biles have to come down toward the Marines, so the tanks will be a little bit better off for a little bit longer. Maru's starting to pull SCVs against this, which is pretty typical. Usually as a Terran here, you can lose 20 SCVs defending because you will rebuild very comfortably after. And especially with Maru having a 4th command center, losing a chunk of SCVs while already ahead on workers is absolutely affordable for him. So if he does want to do that to make sure he survives, then that's fine. And again, a lot of that is also the fact that if you survive this Roach Ravager onslaught at first, you're generally in a very good position because the army of the Zerg does not scale well into the later stages of the game as more tanks, etc. come out. So losing a bunch of SCVs initially is absolutely affordable compared to other situations, compared to other kind of armies. Now we're going to bring another tank forward. I don't like that, though. That almost feels viable from the other side. Maybe it's just about perfect, though. Maybe it actually would just about work out in this situation as our tank shots continue to fire through. Ravager going to come in from the left. Going to see a couple tanks setting up. A bio coming through. A bio also coming down. The Marines will continue just to chase those units away. Just keep them back. RagnaroK will not be allowed to gain access over toward the front. As you see a set of rocks. Just going to get knocked down as well. It's just going to take these out. Marine's going to grab a Ravager over on the sides. He's going to stim, a few lings going down. We are going to be seeing these Marines continue to fight. The tank's going to dish out a whole bunch of hurt, and I just don't see this anymore for RagnaroK. For a long time, obviously, it looks as though he might be able to start pushing through, but now his supply is being drained severely. And Maru is building 2 siege tanks at a time off of 2 different factories, which is obviously, again, just a massive aid. It's just getting better and better here for Maru, and he really is looking to put himself in a very, very good position here. This game number 4. And in this series, he will look to move through, of course, to the next round. The round of 8 does play today, guys, and that would be versus Classic. That would be after Beyond versus Scarlet, which is our next best of 5 on the list. Our Marine's going to nab the Overlord on the bottom side here that's just sitting on that pillar, keeping an eye out for things. As Maru, his tank's still set up. Infestation Pit and the Baneling Nest both still on the way out as well, continuing to establish further tech as RagnaroK, as he finally realizes that Roach Ravager is not going to be it. This is very typical to go Roach Ravager and then into all of these, stuff like, Baneling Nest and melee upgrades and just those kind of things in general. Very typical, very standard. Just going to be moving towards more of that right now, as you are going to be seeing the Roaches, the Ravagers coming through. The Medivacs have to lift up, and Maru is just going to go diving forward with these Medivacs toward the main base, so he is going to go forward. He is going to go commit into this main. As our Marines will unload, they're going to jump on those Roaches. A few Lings coming across, they're going to try and dive forward as well. Going to see a couple Queens perhaps in some trouble. Lings still going down. Our Medivacs will load up once again, and just going to be seeing them dropping back down to the low ground. Maybe not something they can really do much with. RagnaroK's supply, you might look at it and say, well, it's not too bad, right? It ain't, but also as a Zerg, you kind of want 80 workers. Also, he's, in the middle of a switch towards Ling Bane Ravager, where he doesn't have Bane speed or melee upgrades yet. And Maru already has 2-2 as well. And there's a shit ton of siege tanks, which is going to be an issue. Excuse my language, but I mean, how else do you express this amount of tanks all set up? These Roaches are going to get massacred as the Corrosive Vials can't possibly find enough targets to see success here. It does look as though Maru is going to just keep on taking position and pushing forward. The tanks on the right side will probably solo a few of those units as well, as the Marines are focused over on the left. That's absolutely fine. We're still yet to see any Banelings brought into play. Maybe we can start morphing a few now. Baneling speed is not far off. Maybe RagnaroK can give himself something of a chance with this, as Maru brings further tanks forward. He's going to start sieging up, keeping them split most of the time so they don't get double vialed. And also, just in case Vipers pop out, wants to make sure that they don't get like a mega Blinding Cloud, although he's pretty stacked up there. One Blinding Cloud would have been kind of deadly. But he was at least splitting to stop Ravagers getting double kills. You can just see that when it comes down to the fight, it's not really much of a competition, and that Maru's supply very much so stays at 180, while RagnaroK's just gets dropped off, and that is just the difference in qualities of these armies. Maru's army is of very good quality, and RagnaroK's was not after the failed Roach Ravager attempt, and just a super convincing series from Maru. Just very well done. Lost a game to the Baneling bus, but otherwise just controlled every other game.